I told Alex to block those bubblegum attorneys from his phone and his email and never talk to them again because they don't know what the they're talking about. Continuing jurisdiction. It's a concept that means nothing to you until it means everything to you. If you've been to court for a divorce, legitimation, or paternity case, you need to listen up. The best way to explain all this is with a story. Alex and Emily got divorced in Georgia 6 years ago. 3 years ago, Emily moved to Texas with their 2 children. But before doing so, Emily filed a modification case here in Georgia that gave her and Alex a new parenting plan, taking into account that the children will be in Texas, and a new child support amount, taking into account Alex's cost of travel for seeing the kids in Texas. Now, 3 years later, Alex has a different job with a different income, and he also has a lot more time to be able to see the kids than he did before. So Alex wants to file a modification. He talks to 4 attorneys who tell him that since the kids now live in Texas, he needs to file his modification of parenting time and child support in Texas. Then Alex called me, and guess what I told him? I told Alex to block those bubblegum attorneys from his phone and his email and never talk to them again because they don't know what the they're talking about. Here's why. There is something called continuing jurisdiction, which in this case means authority or control. And there's also something called the Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act, or UCCJEA, and there's also something called the Uniform Interstate Family Support Act, or UIFSA, sometimes called UIFSA. Let's talk about each of them. And when you get done with this video, which you should watch multiple times to make sure you grasp all this, you're gonna know more than 99% of the public, and you'll know more than a lot of family law attorneys who are supposed to know this stuff, but they don't. And frankly, it pisses me off to see them giving you the wrong advice, which is why I'm doing this video and tons of others you're gonna see on my channels on various social media platforms. Okay, let's talk about continuing jurisdiction. When a court in Georgia issues a child custody or child support order, it establishes not just the rules, but also establishes its ongoing jurisdiction or authority over the case. This means that Georgia maintains the authority to oversee and modify the orders as circumstances evolve. Now, with Alex remaining in Georgia, the Georgia court continues to hold the reins. I think it's important to tell you why. It has to do with fairness. How fair would it be if Emily decides to move to Texas or Timbuktu, and Alex, who's still in the same home that they used to live in, has to chase Emily all over yonder to modify the case that was done here in Georgia? That wouldn't make sense, and that wouldn't be fair at all, would it? Okay, now let's talk about the Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act. That's also called UCCJEA. Georgia, like most other states, adheres to the Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act, and this is a legal framework which decides which state should handle a child custody case or modification and prevents conflicting decisions from different jurisdictions. So in this scenario, with Alex and Emily, the UCCJEA also gives continuing jurisdiction to Georgia for child custody matters, again, because Alex is still here in Georgia. Now let's talk about the Uniform Interstate Family Support Act, also known as UIFSA. It's similar to the UCCJEA in that it provides a legal framework for determining where child support modifications can be done. Once again, because Alex is still here in Georgia, Georgia maintains continuing exclusive jurisdiction to handle modifications of its prior child support orders. I know I'm throwing a lot of legal concepts at you, so just remember this. Even if the child or one of the parents relocates to another state, Georgia maintains its authority over child custody and child support orders issued within its courts, especially when one of the parents still lives here. So, continuing on with our story about Alex and Emily. Alex files a modification of parenting time and child support in the Georgia court, and he has Emily served. Emily turns around and argues that she and the kids don't live in Georgia anymore, they live in Texas, and therefore Alex should have filed in Texas. She's wrong. Why? Because Georgia has, go ahead, say it with me, continuing jurisdiction. Now, there are circumstances where Emily could try to argue that it makes more sense for custody matters to be determined in Texas because that's where the children live. But given the facts that I've presented here, I already have the counter arguments prepared in my mind for that challenge to jurisdiction. And remember this, Emily would have to convince the Georgia court to allow the Texas court to have jurisdiction. Georgia has jurisdiction and control automatically, whereas Texas can only get jurisdiction if the Georgia court allows the Texas court to have it. This is so key to remember. Georgia has it, Texas doesn't have it. Texas would have to ask Georgia to give it up, and only under those circumstances could Emily prevail and have the case determined in Texas. And with the right counter arguments from a good attorney who actually understands this stuff, That ain't gonna happen. Hey, thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. Be sure to click subscribe, like, follow, whatever is appropriate for the platform you're watching it on, and turn on the alerts so that you'll get notified when we post our newest videos. And please share these videos with people you care about who need to see this information. It's so important. Go ahead and repost it. Let's get this info out to the people who need to know. Also, leave us some comments. Let me know if you have questions or suggestions for other topics, and let me know your thoughts. I really want to hear what you have to say. Just keep it polite. Remember to join our Facebook group at Georgia Divorce and Custody and join in the discussion. And as always, I look forward to seeing you on the next video.